Alright, good afternoon everyone. It's about 7:22 p.m. It's September 8th, 2017. Today I want to teach you the basic fundamentals of reading music. Now, before you can play an instrument or sing a song, unless you can do it by ear, which means you can just play what you hear, and some people can play an instrument by ear or even sing by ear. You can do either or.
Right.
Now, the thing is, whether you're playing an instrument or singing, though, you need to learn the notes and how to read a musical composition. Now, the first thing you need to know about the reading music is there are 5 lines that are called staffs. Now, these 5 lines are straight lines. Now, this won't be straight because I'm drawing it, but it's a demonstration on the letterhead so you can see it. Alright. Now, even though you can't see the line I drew it on well, I drew 5 lines to represent the staff. Now, there's notes associated with each staff, but there's 2 clefs the staff can be used to represent each note. One is called the G clef, and the other is called the F clef. Now, one is for female singers and one is for male singers. The females use the treble clef. The males use the bass clef, which is also called the F clef, and the female clef is called the G clef. Yep. Now, so when you're listening to your music on the radio or through your PA or whatever, you hear highs in the music and lows in the music. The lows are generally on the F clef, and the highs are in the treble clef. Your speaker has a bass speaker and a treble speaker. And what these speakers do is they produce the sound you hear out of the speaker. One for the highs and one for the lows. There's even a mid-range speaker on some speaker systems, for example. So you basically have 3 speakers depending on your stereo system within your speaker. Though some just have 2, the bass and the treble. But the thing is, the G clef, or the treble clef, also called, a little more name for it, I can remember it all. But also called the well, I can't quite remember right now, but I'll get to that later on when I do, because sometimes if you ain't really been working on it in a while, you can forget some of the details. But the 2 clefs are called bass clef, or treble clef, or G clef, or F clef. Now, I'll show you the G clef and why it's called a G clef. A G clef basically looks like this. I might be a little off, but let me find my book again. Okay, I'm a little off, but alright. But it basically looks like this. This is a rough version of it. Now, this is what it looks like in a printed form. Now, the reason it's called the G clef is there's a circle and a line that transcends and crosses each other in the center. Right here. Well, there's two bars. One is called E and one is called G. And then you have the B bar, then you have the D bar, and then you have the F bar again. I think. Yeah. So the first bar is the E bar, then the G bar, then the B bar, then the E bar, then the D bar. Yeah, sorry, I get a little confused, I think. E, G, B, D, and F. Okay. So, there are 5 staves in a musical score where you write your notes on the staff. Now, where you write the note on the staff is determined what note it is. If you write it on the first line, it's an E. If you write it in the middle of the first line, it's an F. If you write it on the second line, it's a G. If you write it on the second middle space, it's an A. If you write it on the third line, it's a B. If you write it on the fourth open space, it's a C. No, the third open space is a C. If you write it on the fourth line, it's a D. If you write it on the fifth line, or the fourth middle space, it's an E. Get a little ahead of myself. And if you write it on the top line, it's an F. So basically, E, G, B, D, F are the lines, and F, A, C, E are the spaces. Now, one spells out face, and the other one is an acronym, and it stands for Every Good Boy Deserves Fudge, or fun. And that's what they told me it means. You can make it an acronym. Now, face, though, is sort of speaks for itself. Now, that's the G clef. So, that's what you need to understand for women. The next clef is called the bass clef or the F clef. And the reason is, it too has something to indicate the line of the note that is the F note in the bass clef. And it's the fourth line from the top, from the bottom. Or the second line from the top. Now an F clef looks almost like an F2 in that it has the appearance of a line in two circles. Now all you got to do to make it the letter F is cross it, or a capital F with the two dots. See why it's called the F clef. So the notes are F, G, Now the notes for the F clef are G at the bottom, right here, A in the middle with no line, B right here, C for this open space, D for the next line, E for the next open space, F for the F clef line right here, then G for the next space, and then A for the next line. Now, this one's a little bit difficult to come up with a name for because it doesn't really mean anything. But you might can make up an acronym for it, like Good Boys Drive Fun Always, or something like that. Or Ace G, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Something like that, I don't know. Ace can be a card, or in the card deck of 52. You got the Ace, King, and Queen. So Ace G can be the spaces, and Good Boys Drive Fun Always can be the lines. If you want. But that's up to you. Now that's my own invention, though. I just invented that, so whatever. So, anyway, Um, so we can say, good boys drive fast always. Something like that. Or HG for the spaces. And every boy drives fast always for the lines. Now, the next thing you need to know about are the notes. Now that you know the bass and the treble clef. Now there are 4 major notes that you need to know. A whole note, which is 4 beats. A half note. A quarter note. And 16th note. Now, a whole note is like a circle or an egg. A half note has a little staff on it. A quarter note has a staff on it. And a 16th note has a staff with a little flag on it. At least that's what they call it. Now, if you put a note, say, here, on the F clef, it's a D note. And it's a quarter note. Now, what a quarter note is when you have a composition of music, there are rhythms and times within the music like fractions. Now, the top note, the top number represents the number of beats per measure, and the bottom note represents how many beats each note gets. Now, for instance, 4 on the top and 4 on the bottom is called 4/4 time. 4 on the top represents how many notes per measure. 4 on the bottom represents which note gets the beat per measure. Now, since there's 4 notes per measure, that means the quarter note, which is this one here, can be drawn 4 times per measure. Now, these here are 4 quarter notes, and each note is represented by a quarter note, and there are 4 quarter notes per measure, which a measure is represented by a line across the staff. And there are 4 quarter notes in this measure. There can be 1 whole note, 2 half notes, 4 quarter notes, and how many 16th notes? 8th notes? 8. Now there's also a 16th note, which has 2 flags, and also a 34th note, a 32nd note, which has 3 flags, and the hardest one is the 64th note, but rarely used except in drumming or percussions. It's not really used for singing, but it's more for drumming or percussion. Sorry, my pen's running out of ink. And then finally, the 64th note, which is 4 flags. So this is the 16th, 32nd, and 64th. You probably won't really play a 64th unless you're doing drums or percussions or something like that. Because the human voice doesn't sing that fast. To do the half note, for instance, is just 1 and 2. The 16th is 1 A and a. Or is that the 32nd? Hold on. Yeah. The 16th is 1 A and a. And the 32nd is 1 A and a, 2 A and a, 3 and a. And would be really quicker than that. It would be more like, you would, each little flag would get a half step, 4 steps per half beat. The way they do the quarter is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 notes for the quarter note per measure. The half note, the 8th note, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, is 1 and 2. The 16th is 1 A and 2. So the 32nd, which that's divided in half. See, 1 A and 2. That's 2 beats to start the second beat. And that's 1/16 note. Is 1 A, that's the note, and then and 2. Each little 1 A, the A is the next beat, then and then A 2. All those are 3 beats, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 to make the next note. So you're playing or singing 4 notes per beat. Now for the 16th is 1 A. I forgot what they said for that, but I might have to make something up on the spot. But it's 1 the 2, 1 the and the 2, 1 the and. Alright, it would be like 1 A D the, I think. Because I gotta get 4 notes there, alright, for the 16th. The first beat, the second beat, the third beat, and the and. So 1 A the and the ma 2. there are 8 parts to each note per whole note, per quarter note. So you would have to divide it into 8 parts for one beat. So 1 A in the it's a little complicated, I know, to explain, but you gotta sing 4 notes per half beat. And it's gotta be 8 notes total to be a 16th, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So it's like 7 notes, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So anyway, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. It's like 7 notes, but it's weird because it's rare that a singer has to sing that quickly unless you're rapping or something. And like I said, it's rarely used except in percussions. Not even musically can you play an instrument that fast. Usually the notes end about a 16th, which is 1 ANDA. And the 32nd and the 64th are probably mainly used in percussion, like I said before. Now the 64th would be like 8 between the half note. The quarter. Between the and. You would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 actual parts of the half of the quarter note, right? And then going down 7 more, right? Until you get to the next note, right? For a quarter note, right? So it would be 8 up and 7 down, right? To be a 64th note. Now, if you can learn this, you can sing any song. Now, there are also 2 teaching methods that are popular. One is, of course, the do, re, mi method. Now, each term represents a note on the singing scale. So, do, re, mi, fa, so, ti, la, do. And do is a C, re, D, mi, E, fa, F, G, so, A, T, and B, la. And then that brings you back to C, do. So do is C, re is D, mi is E, fa is F, so is G, T is A, la is B, and then back to do, which is C. Now, you can also use a numbering system where 1 is C, 2 is D, 3 is E, 4 is F, 5 is G, 6 is A, 7 is B, and then back to 1 for C. That's how our chorus teacher, Mr. Mullis, taught us. So, you have these two methods. One is the classical method, called the do-re-mi method, and the other one is the note method, the numbering method for the notes, right? Which is what Mr. Mullis, our chorus teacher, taught us from the 8th to the 10th grade for me. Now, that's how you learn to read a note and what a note is. Now, there are also different time signatures. You can have 2, 2, 3, 4, and what this is a 2-2 time signature is for a half note, right? A 4-4 is for a quarter, and a 3-4 is for a quarter. Well, this means is there's 3 beats per measure, and a quarter note gets the beat. Now, there's also a 3-beat note for the I think it has a dot, if I remember correctly, but it looks something like this. I ain't seen one in a while. I'll see if I can find one. And there's also one for 1.5 notes, which I'm trying to remember. Alright, this here would probably be this one here. 3 notes. Right. The one by the 7 and 1. Right here. That's 3 notes. There's also 1.5 notes. Which is a quarter note with a dot. And that's the note that's blacked in on the bottom with the dot next to it. Now, the quarter note, the staff can be up or down, right? For the half note, which is 2 beats. That's up to the... Though generally it looks like the half note is up. Though either one can be... Either one. Yeah, either way, up or down, but it needs the staff on the side, the little line here, which is what that's called, to be a quarter note or a half note. And the flag represents a 8th note and then a 16th note, then a 32nd and then a 64th. But no one really sings that fast. Now, there are 2 methods of singing. One is called, you look the note up and you play the note and you sing the note. The other method is called singing by ear. That's where you match the sound of a person next to you and you impersonate the sound and match the same note that way. Now, you can also, some people can do that with musical instruments and can match the note that way. They can hear and play the same note, right? And some people can sing and play, hear and sing the same note, right? Now, some people like me can impersonate the singer's voice and sing the same note. And Jimmy Fallon is one of the ones who can do it like me and Eddie Murphy, right? To name a couple, right? And of course, John Belushi impersonated Joe Cocker on one of the first Saturday Night Live episodes as well. But like I said, what would you do if I sing out of tune? Would you get up and walk out on me? Lend me your ear and I'll sing your song. And I will try not to sing out of key. And that's how Joe was started the song. And he had a few hits. I'm not sure if that's the one John Belushi impersonated, but that's one of the songs. Now that's based on the Beatles too, and they had a similar song. Now the Beatles let Joe sing their song, but of course he had to get permission, right, to sing it too, and they let him sing it, right. Now again, when you're doing copyrighted material, you have two ways you can sing it. One is go to the artist directly and ask permission. The second way is you can teach the song or critique it. Then you can play 10-second clips of the song even, and also sing with it, teaching them to sing by people to sing by ear. So that's what I do. I learned to sing by ear. I don't so much as do so well with the piano, right? So. Though I can match the notes on the piano too, right? But I do great when it comes to singing with another singer by ear, where I match their pitch, note, and even the sound of their voice, their speaking voice and their singing voice. And again, I can match it whether it's a personal singing voice or you're singing the actual note and using proper diction as well. And those are the two different ways you can sing as well. Some people, like in opera, just sing the notes. La 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 la. That's from Bugs Bunny, of course. And then some people talk sing. All my exes live in Texas. That's, of course, I think George Jones. Or Willie Nelson. He stopped loving her. Oh, that's George Jones. He stopped loving her today. They placed a wreath upon his door, and soon they'll carry him away. He stopped loving her today. And see, copyright infringement allows me to both critique the artist and teach how to sing the song in both unison and with the notes. I can do both. Right? Now that's why I have different artists' fake books too. What a fake book is it gives you the notes for the song the artist sung. And a fake book can be used to teach you the different notes from the artist. So anyway, that's why I do that. And that's to teach you how to sing. And the first thing you need to be able to read are the notes and the measures and the things like that. If you can do that, you can learn to sing any song. So anyway, have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.